Welcome to TTV News with some latest events in TayNinhTV Province. The audience, delegates of the People's Councils of TayNinhTV Province and TayNinhTV District had a meeting with voters in the two communes of Tân Hiệp and Tân Hội on November 8th.
The voters of Tân Hội commune suggested the management unit of Thailand Lake to regulate the water level more reasonably to avoid flooding fuels occurs. They also asked the provincial authorities to pay attention to operating and expanding the Road 785 because the number of vehicles is currently very large, especially trucks and containers, which are very dangerous for road users. Besides, the voters also urged the support of life and housing for disadvantaged households around Tân Hội 1 industrial cluster. Meanwhile, the voters of Tân Hiệp proposed the authorities to strengthen the inspection and supervision of the activities of the units, organizing seminars, customer service conferences, and those to introduce household essentials and functional foods took place in the commune recently. They also suggested fixing the lights on the 785 road soon to ensure traffic safety at night. The opinions of voters under the authority of the district and commune peers committees were discussed and directly clarified by the leaders at the meeting. Currently, the situation of COVID-19 epidemic is under control in TayNinhTV. The number of cases has decreased sharply, but the average weekly number of deaths recorded in the province is from 1 to 2 cases. This is also a worrying factor for the province, as a number of people aged 12 to 17 and high-risk groups receive the booster shots and additional doses, reaches less than 80%. According to the statistics of the Department of Health, the number of people aged 18 and over receive the first and second doses reaches approximately 100%. Over 75% of population have received the third dose of vaccine. More than 70% received the fourth dose of vaccine. Nearly 100% of children aged 12 to 17 have received the first and second doses, and about 70% of them received the third doses. As for children aged between 5 to 11, the first shot is over 98%, and the second shot is about 60%. To increase the rate of vaccination against COVID-19 with booster shots and additional doses, the Department of Health asked localities to mobilize medical forces to organize many mobile and phased injection points, serving the vaccination needs of the locals. To further accelerate the progress of vaccination against COVID-19 on the basis of issued guidelines to avoid expiration and waste of vaccines.
On November 8th, Châu Thành District Party Committee held a propaganda conference on the results of land border demarcations and markings between Vietnam and Cambodia to members of the District Party Standing Committee, the Steering Committee of 35 districts, leaders of district agencies and units, commanding officials, political commissioners of border guard stations, and leaders of communes and towns. The Provincial Department of Foreign Affairs disseminated the basic and important contents of the two legal documents on the border between Vietnam and Cambodia, enforcement responsibility of citizens, achievements in demarcation and marking, and some outstanding results in the bilateral cooperation relation between TayNinhTV and the provinces bordering Cambodia in recent years, as well as key tasks to be deployed in the coming time. The conference was designed to help participants better understand the achievements as well as the work to be carried out in the near future, coordinating to building the land border between Vietnam and Cambodia into a border of peace, stability, cooperation, and development. Turn to other news. In the morning of November 8th, the TayNinhTV Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, in collaboration with Victory University of Industry, held an opening ceremony of the training course on new rural construction.
This course is divided into two classes with the participation of 125 trainees, including representatives of social-political organizations, provincial mass organizations, people's committees of districts, towns, and cities, the commune-level people's committees across the province. The training focused on issues such as construction and management of rural electricity system for safety in new rural construction, solutions to improve the quality of rural environment, corporate governance in rural industrial establishments, trade and services in new rural construction, as well as issues on brand names, trademarks and geographical indications for goods of rural industrial establishments. It is expected that by 2025, TayNinhTV will have 71 out of 71 communes meeting new rural standards, 37 communes of advanced new rural standards, and 12 communes of model new rural standards. This is also an opportunity for professional staff to exchange experience, remove difficulties and obstacles in the process of implementing the set of criteria for rural construction in the new state.
Also on November 8th, the Department of Industry and Trade held a training course to disseminate knowledge of international economic integration in 2022. The course was attended by officials and civil servants of provincial departments, agencies, people's committees, and the Office of Economy Infrastructure of districts, towns, and cities. The trainees were updated and disseminated knowledge about international integration and globalization process in Vietnam. Reference to effort from the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the UK-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, the European-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, and other key commitments in the mentioned agreements, etc.
On November 8, every TayNinhTV branch awarded Bringing Dreams to Life scholarships worth 1 million Vietnam dong each to 74 students of TayNinh High School and Trần Đại Nghĩa High School. This is an annual activity of the Youth Union of every TayNinhTV branch. In 2022, the unit has awarded Bringing Dreams to Life scholarships worth 500 million Vietnam dong to disadvantaged students. Besides, the branch also spent more than 4 billion Vietnam dong to carry out other social security works in the province.
The audience identifying the existence for people with disabilities and the protection of children's rights as one of the important tasks over the past time, branches, units, and localities in the province have implemented many activities and models, bringing positive effects, contributing to raising awareness and action of families and society in protecting people with disabilities and children's rights. TayNinhTV currently has over 4,000 members participating in 18 groups, managed by the Vietnam Association for Assistance of People with Disabilities and Protection of Child Rights in the province. Most people with disabilities have difficult circumstances. For years, the Provincial People's Committee has directed functional branches, districts, and towns to focus on directing and guiding communes, wards, and towns to set up a culture for determining the degree of disability, social allowance review board, as well as counseling and guiding people with disabilities and their families to make doses according to regulations. The Department of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs has been coordinating with functional sectors to regularly inspect, supervise, and urge the implementation of social protection policies for people with disabilities, coordinate with localities to solve and remove difficulties and problems arising from the grassroots level, implementing the project on livelihood support and poverty reduction for people with disabilities. Since 2019, the province has over 240 households of people with disabilities receiving interest-free support with an amount of over 2.9 billion Vietnam dong. In addition, vocational training centers and mass organizations also organize vocational training courses and create jobs for the mentioned objects. Many businesses have also joined hands in vocational training, creating jobs after training for hundreds of people with disabilities each year. The establishment of the groups has helped people with disabilities have changes in awareness, thoughts, emotions, and confidence. Unlike before, they now confidently overcome barriers to social access to create a new life. With the attention and care of all levels, supporting communities, authorities, and their own efforts, many people with disabilities have become inspirational examples of the will to rise up in life. However, many other people with disabilities still have low self-esteem and difficulty in choosing livelihood models, funding sources, lack of information on production and business, etc. In the coming time, all levels and branches in the province are requested to regularly propagate and mobilize social protection establishments to pay more attention to these objects and support them to have suitable job opportunities to rise up in life and become useful people to society.
The commune authorities have mobilized benefactors inside and outside the locality to take care of people with disabilities, such as supporting people with disabilities to borrow loans from policy banks, creating jobs and improve income through selling lottery tickets, serving as eateries.
The Provincial Association for Assistance of People with Disabilities and Protection of Child Rights gives support to 7 members of the Commune Club for Disabled People under the Livelihood Support Program for people with disability to help them have material resources, creating jobs for them to have income to contribute to the development of the locality. The existence for people with disabilities and the protection of children's rights have always been deeply concerned by the party in the state. The work of taking care of people with disability in the province has contributed to raising awareness and responsibilities of all levels, sectors, and communities in implementing policies for people with disabilities, arousing and promoting the good tradition of mutual love of the nation, thereby helping them have more equal opportunities in accessing basic social services, developing their abilities and self-reliance in life. That's all for today's TTV News. Thanks for watching and see you next time.